Hey guys, and welcome back for another tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a triangle zipper key fob pouch. Now if you're already subscribed to my channel, you already know that this is the second triangle key fob pouch tutorial, as the first one was made out of vinyl and cork. So if you're interested in seeing that tutorial, I will link that in the information icon. But today we will be making the fabric version. It is a little bit different and has a few extra steps, so I thought I would make a new video showing you how to make this one. The pattern is also slightly different, so there will be a new PDF pattern located over at the blog post, which will be linked below, as well as the information icon, and also links to where you can grab the key fob hardware and any other materials I use. Okay, so for this pouch, you're going to need to cut out the pattern 2 times. I will have an outer and a lining fabric. I have a zipper that measures the length of my pattern piece on the side there. I like to use a bigger zipper just so that I can have more wiggle room when I'm doing my top stitching. And you'll also need a 1-inch key fob hardware. So if you check out that blog post, I will have a link where you can find that. And I usually get them over on Amazon, and they're super cheap. You get a bunch. So for this pouch, I will be using cotton fabric. If you're using a heavier weight fabric such as canvas, you might be able to skip this step, but I did put medium weight interfacing on the back of my pieces just to create more rigidity and make them a little bit more stiff for a more structured pouch. First thing I'm going to do is take my outer fabric, lay that with the right sides up, and then I'm going to put the zipper with the zipper pulled down on top along the longest edge, and then I'll take the lining piece and put that on top, and we're just sandwiching the zipper on the one side. And you want to make sure that all of your pieces are nice and lined up. And I'm just going to go ahead and place a pin in it right there. If you want to pin the whole edge, you can do that also. So now I'm going to switch over to a zipper foot. This is just going to help me sew nice and close to the zipper teeth. So if you have one of those, then you can go ahead and put that on. If you don't know what a zipper foot is, I will have a link in the information icon where you can check out a tutorial all about zipper feet and why you need them if you're doing zippers. You can get away without it, but I definitely recommend grabbing one. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew down the zipper. And as you can see, the zipper foot has a little notch in it, and that's where I like to keep my needle, so you can push that zipper foot right up against those zipper teeth. And then we're going to take it out of the sewing machine, snip all of our threads, and then we're going to flip it with the right sides out. We're going to go ahead and do a top stitch along that edge against the zipper. This is just going to make sure that our fabric stays nice and flat, also gives it a more professional look, and then it also prevents your fabric from accidentally getting caught in your zipper teeth. So I like to do it about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge of the fabric right next to the zipper. And I like to bump up to a 3 stitch length when I do my top stitching, just because I think it looks nicer. That's the only why. So now I'm going to take a marker and I'm going to mark right across from the first little there. The reason why I'm doing that is because the fabric kind of gets twisted and it doesn't really do what you want it to do. So I'm just going to, make sure that the fabric is right sides together, sandwiched between the other side of that zipper. I'm going to place a pin in it, and as you can see, the fabric is kind of twisting. So I'm just going to get it under the machine, get a few stitches in, and then I'm going to fix the zipper and get everything nice and lined up. I just found this was the easiest way, and when you're making these, you don't want it to take a lot of time. So now I'm just going to take my pin out, and then I can adjust my zipper, making sure that everything is lined up. Just because you're kind of making the fabric do something it doesn't really want to do. It doesn't want to fold on a diagonal like that. So, like I said before, we're just going to sew right along those zipper teeth, and now this is how it should be looking. We're going to do top stitch, and this is why I like to have a little bit of a larger zipper, just so that we can really open it up and be able to get it underneath your presser foot to do that top stitching. So you're just going to undo the zipper, which can be a little bit tricky, but it is very doable. And we'll turn the whole project right side out. From here, you'll be able to get it underneath the machine and do that top stitch right along the other side of your zipper there. So I'm just going to flatten it. This isn't how it's going to stay, so we are going to flip it back inside out again. But we're just going to go and do that top stitching right along there. Make sure it's nice and flat and pulled away from your zipper. And if you want to press, this section before you go ahead and do your top stitching, just to make sure that it's nice and flat, you can do that. So now I'm just going to again do that 3 stitch length right down about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge of our fabric. Now this is where I say, if you're not already, I hope that you subscribe and of course hit that notification bell to be alerted of new and future tutorials, and of course smash the like button, as the kids like to say. It really helps me out. Okay, so next we will turn it back inside out again. So it will be easiest to turn it inside out with the zipper open fully. But you will be doing up the zipper once it is inside out. So now I'm just going to do up that zipper, and you can do it a little bit, but I'm just going to do it all the way just to make sure. And then we're going to make sure that our zipper is centered with our triangle and kind of flatten the outer fabric towards the zipper, and then flatten the lining fabric towards the zipper. And just make sure that it's all kind of lined up on all sides. The bottom might not be perfect, but that's okay, because we're gonna, sew across there. It'll make it nice and straight, and then you can snip off any of the excess. And I'm gonna do probably like a 1/2 inch seam allowance right across the bottom. I brought my machine back to a 2.5 stitch length, and I'm going to sew right across, right over the zipper. This is a nylon zipper, so it's not going to hurt my needle. When I go over the zipper, I like to kind of back stitch over it a little bit just to make sure that's nice and tight, and then I'll keep going all the way to the other end. So now we're going to go ahead and snip off the excess fabric and the bottom of the zipper. So we're not going to snip off the top of it yet. We'll just do the bottom. And if there's any bulk, just try to, reduce it as much as possible for when we go to flip it right sides out. And then we're going to try to undo the zipper. I think, I know this is the easiest way to do it. So you have to unzip the zipper, and then you're going to flip it right sides out with that hole at the top. So it will be a little bit tight, but it is definitely doable, as this pattern has a larger hole than the vinyl one. So if you decided to try to make this pouch with the pattern for the vinyl pouch, then this part is going to be a lot more difficult. So that's why this pattern is slightly different, so that we have a larger hole at the top and we're able to flip it right sides out. And then I'm just going to use a chopstick or knitting needle to poke out the corners of my pouch. And then after that, I'm going to give it a good press, and that will help in the attaching the key fob hardware step. So after you give it a good press, then we're just going to cut off the excess zipper on the top. We're going to pull the zipper pull down, so of course we don't snip off that zipper, and just line it up so that it's nice and even on the top for when we attach the key fob hardware. Now there is a tool called a key fob hardware pliers. They're actually, I think, for glass breaking, so I don't even think they're made specifically for key fob hardware. So if you're looking for these types of pliers, I do have links at the blog post. But if you're like me and you are too cheap, you can just use some needle nose pliers. I like to use a little piece of leather, and that's just going to help to protect the finish on my hardware so I don't scratch it from my pliers. The actual pliers do come with little rubber guards on it, so it doesn't wreck your hardware. I would definitely recommend getting one of those though if you are making a ton of these, because they are definitely more handy than the struggle that I'm left with these pliers. But anyways, so now I'm just going to, I did like pre-squeeze my little hardware there just because it's a little wide. And so I do it a little bit and then I place it and then I squeeze it and then I adjust, and then I squeeze again, and just to make sure that it's all perfect. And I even give it a little tug, make sure that those teeth are in the fabric, they have sunken in and they're not going anywhere. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and of course if you do, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends if they have seen the first one, so they know that there is a second one. And thank you so much for hitting 40,000 subscribers with me. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in my next tutorial. Bye guys!